Since the Mahomes era started in 2018, saying the Chiefs have been dominant would be an understatement. They've won 3 Super Bowls during that span, and they've made it to the conference championship or further in every single one of those seasons. The Chiefs are currently 6-6, the worst record this deep in the season since Mahomes took over, and they're probably going to have to win out to even make the playoffs. Not only is the conference championship streak in danger, the thought of even making the playoffs is in danger at this point. We've all been waiting for them to make their usual run and silence all of the doubters, but they're almost out of time, and that run still hasn't happened yet. With the Chiefs' playoff hopes hanging on by a thread, it begs the question, how did we get here? So the most obvious thing that comes to mind is the way the Chiefs are finishing games. You think of the Chiefs, you think of clutch moments, game-winning drives, defensive stands to end the game, and even special team plays like the blocked field goal against Denver last year. It doesn't always look pretty, but if it's a one-score game in the last 5 minutes, you expect the Chiefs to win. The problem is, that's not what's happening this year. Down 10 against the Cowboys, and after some Mahomes magic, they cut it to 3 with 3:30 left in the game, and there was plenty of opportunity to get the ball back. But they just couldn't do it, and I'm beginning to expect the Chiefs to lose games like this. I never thought I'd be saying that. Last year, the Chiefs were 11-0 in the regular season in one-score games, and 1-0 in one-score games in the playoffs. 12-0 in total in one-score games is absolutely ridiculous. This year in one-score games, they're currently 1-6. That's a pretty awful drop from last year to this year. The next question that arises is why are they suddenly so much worse at closing out close games? That question, unfortunately, is much harder to find a clear answer to. You'd assume they're just getting older and many of the players that have made the Chiefs so dominant are starting to age and lose a step. But do the numbers really reflect that? Well, I took a look and the answer is no, they don't. Travis Kelce is averaging more receiving yards per game than he did last year, and he already has more receiving touchdowns. Chris Jones hasn't played as well as last year, but he's still been good. Mahomes isn't exactly old, but he's also someone that's caught some blame for the Chiefs' sudden struggles, and he's been a good bit better than he was last year. The team as a whole has been better in theory. Their points per game is almost 3 higher, and their points allowed per game is basically identical. Put all of it together, and it's strange that they're so much worse, particularly in close games. It's pretty hard to explain what happened, but these are the best theories I could come up with. The team's stats may be elevated because they've managed to blow out teams when they couldn't really pull that off last year. This is probably because their offensive line has played a little better, and they're more capable of going down the field and running up the score. Last year, they tended to play a slower game management style. Also, the game when they rested their starters and lost 38-0 against the Broncos certainly affected their end-of-season stats a decent amount on offense and defense. Another theory is that they had already started to lose it last year, and them managing to win all of their close games masked the drop that they were already starting to have. And my final theory is that all of the older players that have led the team managed to step up and make plays at the end of the game last year, but this year they aren't quite good enough to make those same plays. Maybe their stats are better because they're putting in more effort throughout the game out of desperation, but their absolute best isn't as good as it was last year. As a result, all of the close games that they won last year are now ending up being losses. Those are my 3 best theories for what's going on. But the biggest question of all is, are the Chiefs on the verge of falling apart, or is this just one down year? To answer that question, let's go back in time. Back to 2007 to be exact. The Patriots had one of the best seasons of all time, going 16-0. They had a loaded roster, and everyone thought that they would win the Super Bowl. After an upset loss to the Giants in the Super Bowl, they followed that season up by missing the playoffs. This was obviously not the end of the Patriots dynasty, but it was a time when questions arised. The Chiefs just came off a 15-2 season, which was really a 15-1 season because they rested their starters in the last game, and they too lost in the Super Bowl. There's a real possibility that this is just a letdown year after such a disappointing end to last season. It's also possible that the Chiefs are getting old and they need to rebuild some of their roster. And in addition, Andy Reid is 67 years old. He may not have all that much longer left. He is one of the best coaches in NFL history, and his importance to the team shouldn't be underestimated. Even with all that going against him, I still believe the Chiefs have many good years ahead of them. That, of course, is because as long as they have Patrick Mahomes, I can't bring myself to doubt them. And Mahomes is only 30. The pieces may not be the same. A future coach may be worse. And finding the next Travis Kelce or Chris Jones may not be easy. In fact, they may not find anyone at all who can even be mentioned in the same conversation as those players. But they will still be relevant with Mahomes leading them. Quick timeout. If you're enjoying this breakdown and want more deep dives like this every week, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow, and it guarantees you won't miss the next one. Back to the video. So where does this leave us this year? Well, I think it's time we stop crowning every team that beats the Chiefs as the next great thing, since 6 teams have done it now. They're still a good team. I'd say better than their 6-6 record suggests. But the fact is, they are 6-6. We're used to the Chiefs being the standard, and any time a team beat the Chiefs, we assumed they were one of the best teams in the NFL. Until the Chiefs return to what they've been in previous years, we're going to have to elevate other teams to that status and take the Chiefs for what they currently are, a team that's desperately fighting and seemingly failing to even make the playoffs. However, even after all that's happened this season, the Chiefs still aren't out of the playoff race yet. They're in trouble, and I wouldn't bet on them making the playoffs at this point, but they do still have a real shot. Winning their division is an unrealistic goal at this point, but there's still a window to get a wild card spot. Their sights at this point should be set on the Chargers spot. They have a significant lead. They also beat the Chiefs, but the Chiefs will get another shot at them, and the Chargers have a ridiculously hard end to their schedule. So if the Chargers lose to the Chiefs and 2 of those other games, the Chiefs can still get in. The issue is, the Chiefs have 0 margin for error. If they lose just 1 more game, it's almost certainly over. So yes, it's bad, and the Chiefs are not likely to make it, but it's not quite time to rule them out yet. We're going to have to see a completely different Chiefs team for this to happen though. At the end of the day, the season feels unfamiliar because the Chiefs look human in a way they simply haven't for the last 7 years. The late game magic isn't there. The small mistakes aren't getting erased by superstar moments. And for the first time in the Mahomes era, Kansas City looks like a team trying to find answers instead of a team that already has them. Maybe this really is just a natural letdown after a deep playoff run and a heartbreaking Super Bowl loss. Maybe the aging core and the shifting roster is finally caught up. Maybe, like we've seen with dynasties before, the Chiefs are just having one off year before resetting and coming back stronger. Or maybe this even is the end of a dynasty. What we do know is this: the margin for error is gone. The rest of the AFC is getting better. Kansas City's flaws are becoming clearer, and the path to the postseason is narrowing fast. But as long as Patrick Mahomes is under control, doubt comes with a price. This team has earned the benefit of the doubt more than anyone. Still, until the Chiefs prove that they're that team again, we have to look at them for what they are right now. A struggling contender fighting to stay alive, not the unstoppable dynasty we've grown accustomed to.